As we all have seen, the appetite for oil around the world has not stopped, and it not only is bringing down our planet, it also brings down our global economy. We saw what happened when we reached $147 a barrel, and it's not a pleasant memory at this point. Israel and Denmark, in the beginning of 2008, have embraced Project Better Place and adopted the Better Place model as a way to disconnect between cars and oil as transportation means. And by doing so, effectively began an era of electric mobility. We're always asked when we pick these two countries if our model would actually scale to go bigger than these two small islands, as we've called them at the time. And so we figured out it's time to pick a bit of a bigger island to demonstrate our ability to scale. And what better island than the sixth largest country on Earth, Australia, demonstrating that you can actually take sustainable transportation to any size. We picked Australia to show that the model works regardless of how far the urban centers are from one another. The model is actually scalable, and we believe that Australia could be a demonstration project and proof point for the U.S. as well as the U.K. and the rest of the developed world. In particular, when you think about the east coast of Australia, it has a lot of similarities to the west coast of the United States and North America. Urban centers, roughly in a radius of about 100 miles each, connected through very few transportation arteries, which can be effectively turned into electric highways. If it can be done between Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne, you can see the same thing happening between LA, San Francisco Bay Area, all the way up to the Seattle region. Australia is also a car nation, and it actually has more cars per capita than the U.S., which is considering itself a car nation. With 15 million cars, it's the seventh highest per capita car ownership in the world, ahead of the U.S. and ahead of the U.K. And so if you can take car nation in Australia and demonstrate that we can turn that into electric cars, we actually have a very strong proof point. So we embarked here with Marshall and the team earlier this year and looked for strong local partners that can actually help us solve the problem for Australia and with Australia. And we never come into a country and do it on our own. And so we found two great partners in Macquarie and AGL to help us plan and invest and build Better Place into Australia. Macquarie is helping us raise 1 billion Australian dollars, which will be invested in infrastructure into Australia. And AGL will provide all the renewable energy we need in order to power the car, so that when we convert from gasoline to electric, we also convert into zero carbon electric, creating effectively a virtual oil field to drive Australia across the country. That would actually make Australia completely natural resource independent. It's the only natural resource today. Oil is the only natural resource that Australia still imports in mass from outside. AGL is the largest portfolio of privately owned renewable generation. Macquarie is well known for its ability to not only invest but also deploy and put together very smart infrastructure projects. And we're delighted to sign our agreements and announce them today. We have to invest in infrastructure. We won't be able to switch away from gasoline to electric without having the proper infrastructure, just like you wouldn't buy a gasoline and ICE car without having gas stations across a country. The ability to drive a car is not limited by the battery or the range of the car. It's limited by the range of deployment of the infrastructure. Our intent is to actually start with the urban centers of Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane all the way to the coast, and then connect them with what we call electric highways, in which we have switch stations positioned every 25 miles across the road from Melbourne to Sydney and to Brisbane, so that a commuter can drive as much as they want within any one of these urban cells, but also be able to take the occasional drive from one to the other. The opportunity opens up a tremendous market for the auto industry. 15 million cars converting into electric is the biggest open market today in the world, where infrastructure is committed to be put in place. The government has actually put together a $500 million fund to attract the automotive industry to retool, effectively attracting what we call Car 2.0. We've seen what happened the first year of Car 1.0. It's time for the second century of cars, and that next century is not built on gasoline, it's built on electric. We believe that by putting our $1 billion investment into the ground in infrastructure and the government support on building an automotive industry, we're replacing oil imports with a tremendous amount of jobs, effectively demonstrating how do you treat the problem of our planet, of sustainability, not by slowing down the economy, but actually by increasing the speed of development in the economy, converting natural resources and emissions into clean, green jobs that train our kids in the future economy. And with that, I'd like to thank AGL and Macquarie for the partnership. I want to recognize and thank Minister Jennings for being us and the support from the state of Victoria, who's been tremendously helpful and welcoming from the first second we came here. Thank you for being here with us. We look forward to our continuing discussions in the efforts and the work groups that we're putting together, and to maximize the benefits of leadership and going first for Australia, for its people, for the planet, for our kids. Thank you very much.